So for this problem, we are going to review how to graph linear functions. To graph a linear function, all we're going to do is take this equation, put it into a table, what you might have called an in and out table in the past. It's now going to be called the function table, and then graph the points you have. So to start a problem like this, for a lot of times, you'll be given a lot of this information, but if you're not given any information, then you would start by drawing out the graph. The first column, you would put an x. Next, you would put the right part of your equal sign, 3x plus 2. The third column, you put a y. That is the y that is on the left side of the equal sign. And then the last column, you take the x and the y and you write the ordered pair, x comma y. The ordered pair is used for graphing. On the left-hand side, I'm going to give you numbers to use, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Many times, those numbers for the x's will be given to you, but if they're not, you'll have to use or pick numbers that will fit on the graph. The x's are easy, between -10 and +10, but the answers have to fit on the graph as well. So sometimes you have to plug numbers in and think about what numbers you're going to use. You don't have to worry about that for now, because for now, I'm going to give you all those numbers on the left. The next step we do is we're going to take our x's and plug them in. So if we have 3x plus 2, I'll write 3 times whatever x is plus 2. Since in this row, x is -2, I plug in -2. For the next row, we have 3 times whatever x is plus 2. And since x is -1, you plug in -1. We have 3 times x plus 2, and since x is 0, we plug in 0. The next one is 3 times whatever x is plus 2, and since x is 1, we plug in a 1. And lastly, 3 times whatever x is plus 2, and since x now is 2, you plug in 2. For the third column, you just simplify this expression. You do 3 times -2 is -6, and -6 plus a +2 is a -4. Then you do 3 times -1 is -3, and -3 plus 2 is -1. The next one we have 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. The next one, 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 plus 2 is 5. And then 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is 8. The last column, you would just take the x and y to make your ordered pair. So the x is -2, the y is -4. You have -2 comma -4. When the x is -1 and the y is -1, you have the ordered pair -1 comma -1. When the x is 0 and the y is 2, you have 0 comma 2. When the x is 1 and the y is 5, you have 1 comma 5. And when the x is 2 and the y is 8, you have 2 comma 8. Once the table is completed, you would take those ordered pairs and we will use them to graph. We'll graph each point individually first. So -2 comma -4 means you start at the origin, and the -2 is the first number, so you go left 2. And since -4 is the second number, it means go down 4. Put a dot. The next point is -1 comma -1. That means go left 1 and then down 1. So you start at the origin and you count left 1 and then down 1 and then you put a dot. The third point is 0 comma 2. To graph that, it means start at the origin. 0 means go right or left 0, so I won't move. The 2 means go up 2. I go up 2, I put a dot. The fourth point is 1 comma 5, which means when starting at the origin, the 1 means go 1 to the right, and the 5 means count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put a dot. The last point we have is 2 comma 8. You start at the origin, and a +2 means count 1, 2 to the right, and a +8 means count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up, and then put a dot. Once you have all your dots, you would use a ruler or some kind of straight edge, and you would connect your dots. That gives you the line. The kind of equations that we're going to be graphing are all called linear equations, and linear equations always graph a straight line. If when graphing you don't get a straight line, then you need to check your math. The last thing you do is you label the line with the equation that you started with, y equals 3x plus 2.